All right, we're live now.
Alrighty. Let me refresh. Come on, show me the stream. There it is. All right, I will share the link.
All right, we're good?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Good.
Perfect. So, welcome everybody to the 2,000 subs celebration stream with Asmogan, as most of you know, Asmogan. However, I apologize if I butchered it.
Asmogan is Asmogan.
Okay, the one that I didn't say. Asmogan. There we go. Which is weird because my 40K streaming didn't start until I called into your show. So you are literally the very first person that I talked to on my channel about 40K.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
I'm honored.
That was during the Templin Institute stuff when the female Space Marine argument blew up again, and you were doing call-ins.
Oh yeah, it's blown up like 4 or 5 times since I've been in the hobby. I remember the first time it ever blew up was probably about 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. It's when it was first being like circled. At that point, there wasn't like a movement behind it yet. It was just a few key people, and they were pushing it mainly. It's always been for political reasons, but at the time, like that's when they first started the excuses of representation and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they were initially slapped down by the Sisters of Battle argument, and then it resurfaced again, and again they were slapped down with that because they tried the same argument like a few years later. I don't know. It's recycled as an argument for Wokos over on Twitter and Reddit and places several times, and I don't know why they keep cycling back to it. You would have figured they would have tried something else. I don't know why this is their one and only like push.
Well, what I've noticed is that it's usually either the people that are farming for engagement that know they're going to get a rise out of people, so they bring it up, or brand new accounts coming in that are somehow associated with those people that bring it up because they know they're going to get a rise out of people. And there's quite a few of them that I've seen that they do it strictly for engagement, because that's literally the only time that they get any sort of engagement at all is when they're arguing for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a clout push. I mean, you remember, you know, of Bitshammer, I assume safely, right? You've interacted with him enough on Twitter.
Unfortunately.
Well, you remember when he first made a YouTube channel? What was the first video he made to try and be like the big thing to like start off his channel?
I thought it was the female Space Marine thing.
It was.
I know he's only got like 2 or 3 videos on there. So
yeah, and that original video is gone. Like if you go to his channel, I checked it a few days ago when I was covering a video about it. But if you go there, the video is gone. Like a bunch of videos he uploaded are gone now.
Well, I'm hoping at some point that these people get tired of being dogpiled by people making sense to the point where it's just their thing. You know, where it's like, all right, we can talk about it in the sense of, I want to do this for fun, or I want to kit bash this thing, or I want to, you know, headcanon, whatever. Not when they're making this big societal push and anybody that doesn't like it is a whatever. You know what I mean? Like they've turned it into activism, plain and simple. And I saw that with somebody yesterday that was, oh, you don't want female Space Marines? Well, then you're gatekeeping LGBTQ plus people. And I was like, hold on. Nobody brought up LGBTQ anything except for you. So you're basically admitting that this is a cause for you. It's not something that you want because it, you know, the setting needs it. You want it because this is a sort of cause that you can champion and put under that umbrella of LGBTQ representation.
Exactly. Like they constantly, and the thing is, they can't even get their own stories straight with this. Like they're very scatterbrained when it comes to this, because they all circle back to like the arguments of representation and diversity. But then when you ask for like specificity, that's where you get like some deviation with them. And they don't seem to have a consistent argument. It's It's weird because some of them acknowledge this is a battle, but then they try and devalue them. Some of them pretend that this is a battle are all men effectively because they're like, oh, but you could feel the whole like what Hellstorm Wargaming tried to do. Like they all have different approaches, and the sad thing is none of those approaches work. And if anything, it's because they all deviate so much that makes their stances weaker. Because it's like y'all don't even agree amongst each other what the hell this is all about. So, like all of us on our side, 100% agree on the underlying nature of okay, we want the lore to remain the same, and our reasons are all the same. It's because we like and enjoy the hobby. They're scattered, so it makes them look like less of a movement than they even see themselves as, and it also weakens their arguments. Even though their arguments they hold no water to begin with, but it makes it even worse for their own base when none of them can agree on what the hell it's all about.
Yeah, and it's something that I sort of noticed with that debate that Radhom had with Arch. And while Arch was sitting there basically referencing things that have already happened, things that exist, things that Games Workshop has said, it's always, well, why don't you want this thing? Well, I just told you why I don't want this thing. Oh, okay, well, here's 8 billion progressive talking points as to why we need the thing. And it's like, okay, but none of, like as you said, none of those make sense. Like when you're applying real world, identity politics talking points to a fictional setting, it's like I don't know. It's the same thing I've seen people do with like Avatar. Talking about the Avatar movies where they're trying to say, like the humans are the colonizers, and of course the Na'vi are the tribal representation for Native Americans. And it's like, okay, I can kind of see that, but I don't think that's what they were going for with the movie. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I absolutely agree that that's what James Cameron was going for. The problem is with his own premise, it like if his goal was to make like, and it's clear with a lot of the same themes, he was trying to go for a kind of a sci-fi reskin of A Dance with Wolves. That's basically the plot of Avatar, the first movie anyway. The second movie, I kind of like the second movie a little bit more for like the family themes,
but my point is, if you're looking at it without that lens of
right, if without that lens and you look at it, especially with its own setting, like most of us I would hope would side with the humans, because what's the setup? The humans' world, Earth is dying, resources are scarce, and this world has a resource that we need to survive. This isn't a battle of colonization just because of like territory. This has a resource that we need to live, and if we don't take it, we die. So it's life or death in either scenario. And additionally, on top of it, if you pay attention to the plot of that movie, they make it quite clear through the dialogue that there was peaceful attempts by humans to try and negotiate with the Na'vi. They try, like literally, like if James Cameron himself wrote this shit too, he wrote in that we are the good guys effectively because we tried to negotiate. We even went so far as to waste resources to create avatars, the whole like baseline like plot device of the movie, to try and make them feel more welcome. We go that out of our way to do it, and what do they answer with? Bows, spears, and harsh language in their tongue, and a complete refusal. So I'm sorry, but if anyone watches that film and they walk away going, "Oh, humans are bad, Na'vi are good," it's like you didn't pay a fuck attention.
Well, it's that, and I hate to bring this up, it's that same scenario with the Imperium are actively the good guys in the 40K setting, and you're just like, or sorry, that they're not the good guys. It's like, well, when you look at it from the actual setting, I'm gonna root for these guys and not the BDSM elves or the planet-eating bugs or the mushroom guys that are trying to kill everybody. Right. It's like, who are you going to root for?
Right. And you remember during the Radhom debate with Arch, Radhom at one point, both of them were kind of, and you know how off topic that debate went. It was all about gatekeeping, but they talked maybe 5 minutes about gatekeeping. With that being said, that's been on the moderator. That's less on them. But with Radhom and Arch during that debate, Arch brought up several times. He's like, the Imperium needs to be this bad to survive. Like, it's not horrible, evil, nasty just 'cause. It's literally the circumstances we're in. If we're not this rigid, if we're not this authoritarian, if we're not like this with this constant war machine and the churning out and using human lives as a resource, then we're screwed. Like, especially in the like 30K, like if you look back in the period, like the Horus Heresy times, quality of life was a lot better. Like hive worlds were less of a thing. They were still like big industrial worlds, but the way hive worlds are in modern 40K, like by comparison, it's even worse. So you go back just 10,000 years during the Emperor's time, and what he actually wanted the Imperium to be, it was still bad in terms of modern standards. But look at for the setting, like the setting, look at what they have to face. You got Tyranids, you have orcs, you have, as you said, BDSM elves with the Jakari, you have the Eldar. The Eldar are probably the least out of those because we've worked with them the most in the setting. But even then, they still hate humans. They call us monkeys, for Christ's sake, and they have said several times they would wipe us out if they had the chance.
Don't forget the fish communists.
And the fish communists, like who want to sterilize our entire species.
So, Nick Naylor just super chatted $5 saying, "I demand this podcast add a female host, a buff dommy mommy, for lore reasons." So, hey, if you know one that wants to talk about 40K, let me know. I'm just saying, I haven't seen very many of those.
I actually got one in my community. I don't know if she's a big dommy mommy. You'll have to ask her. I would see what she looks like. But Lady Runesong, she's also in the Legion of Popular Opinion. She's really cool ass. Like, she's an awesome I think she's newer into 40K. But she's very passionate, and she's a real cool gal. So if you ever get, I don't know if you're on the Legion of Unpopular Opinions Discord, but you reach out to her. She's not a content creator, so I don't know if that matters or not. But
I mean, I could always go ask my wife, but that would probably just end up with me getting beat.
That's true.
So you get the dommy part of it, but that's just gonna be for me. Sorry, guys. I can't. You know, one of the ideas that we had brought up, and I think Swanforge is doing her own YouTube channel now. She's mostly doing lore stuff as a person over in Scotland, and it's like there needs to be more women in this hobby that speak up, because the biggest talking point for these people is, oh, we want it so we can bring more women into the hobby. Okay, well, there's women in the hobby. Why don't you want to hear their opinions? I'm just saying. I mean, but anytime that happens, what do they get called? They get called pick-me's. They get called all sorts of names, birthers. And, you know, even, and I've brought this up before, is that even my wife is like, that's dumb. You don't need that. Like, why?
Yeah, the thing is, that also hurts their base. Like when we talk about the Wokos, like on top of just having bad foundational arguments that really have no ground to stand on, and on top of generally being inconsistent as all hell, that's the other thing that really starts to kill them. And honestly, I think the biggest thing that's starting to like tear them apart is how horrible they are as people. Like if they were calm and collected and said all the same shit they say every day, honestly, I think they'd be doing better. Like, because with moderate people and with people like with less of a stake in either direction, like newer fans and stuff, honestly, the biggest reason a lot of, like, I want to say the silent majority are on our side, on top of just being actual fans, also comes in the form of how horridly behaved a lot of the woke hammer people are. Like the head of their community effectively is Bitshammer, right? He's the one they constantly at and over everything. Like whenever they need a definition, whenever they need an argument made for them, they call Bits. He's de facto their leader at this point.
Or Serb.
And even or Serb. I think is okay. Well, to be fair, they do at him a lot too. But yeah, the two of them seem to be like, for some reason, the ones they rally around. I don't know why, but with both of them, Bits in particular, how do they talk to people? How horribly do they talk to people?
Oh yeah, they talk down to everybody.
Oh yeah, like they act arrogant, superior, narcissistic. They like take away all their arguments, and you look at that. That's pushing people away more than anything. Like, no one wants to side with the guy who's acting like a raving lunatic, and that's how these guys act. Why don't I'm going to avoid swearing, Shadow of Hawk. I see that in the chat. I don't know how. I don't want to get you demonetized.
Oh no, we swear a lot. It's fine. Like all the time.
Okay, well, Bits is a bitch. Bits the bitch. That's how I regularly refer to him in private groups. And the guy's a pussy. On top of it, did you know I invited him on my show?
Why?
Because I wanted to display him on the show. I wanted to bring him on and have people hear what he sounds like. That's the thing. I don't believe in silencing other people's opinions. I believe you should be allowed to say what you want. I believe in freedom of speech. So I wanted him to come on and exercise that, and I wanted everyone to exercise their right with their freedom of speech to call him a dumbass.
Yeah,
let him showcase himself as an asshole. That's
kind of what happened with the Radholm thing. I mean, if you go and look at Arch's comments, it's just.
Oh yeah,
they're not nice.
and it happened on my show with the Templin Institute fan that was harassing me on Instagram. Like the thing is, I think they learned from that though, not to come on my show. That on top of it, they all like make excuses too. It's like, oh, you're just gonna clip me out of context. It's like, well, okay, well, it's I'm not recording it; it's live. And I even tell them you can record yourself the whole time. Go ahead, I don't care. That also shows like a lack of confidence in their point. Like they're brave as all hell on the keyboard, but the moment you ask them, hey, just you still have the anonymity of the internet. You still have the safety net. Like I can't punch you for being a jackass over a voice call. But even just that one more degree of the opposite of a degree of separation, that one more degree of connection, and they cower away. Can you imagine if you met them in real life? If that's how, if something as simple as a voice call offer can send them running, imagine if you met them in real life, these guys would be fucking in the fetal position.
Well, the funny thing is that these are the same people that actively try to paint the side of like gatekeepers and people that want lore purity and stuff like that as basically being hateful and violent and all this other stuff. When you see them making the most threats of, oh, well, if I see you do this, I'm going to, punch you in the face and break your minis type shit. And it's like, you're not going to do that. Because first of all, if you walked into your local game store and you decided you wanted to beat somebody up and destroy their shit because you disagree with them politically or ideologically, you're going to get kicked out. Not the guy that was minding his own business.
You're probably also going to get your ass beat.
And that.
Oh, absolutely. But you get your ass beat by like half the people. Like in my local LGS, I live in a fairly woke area, unfortunately. But even there, like most of the guys are pretty reasonable. And I actually, there's a short on my channel where I didn't want to film them because I don't want to get them harassed by these psychos. But I just click record on my phone and I asked the guys casually during your tournament. I said, hey, what's your guys' thought on female Space Marines? And all of them laughed. Like, they're like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And again, I live in a woke area. You would think that like all these guys would be jumping down my throat. Nah. Like all of them are like, nah, hell no.
It's a running.
Like, that's an average hobbyist. They understand the lore. They know how it is, and they're not for it. It doesn't make sense.
There's a running joke with the guys know this with my wife about, because she goes with me to the store sometimes. Like when she's up for it, she'll go in and she'll look around, and once I told her about that discourse, she was like, oh, so you're telling me to go into the store and start talking to random people about female Space Marines, right? And I'm like, no, don't do that. So when they replaced the manager, we had one manager that we really liked. He ended up moving up north somewhere, and he got replaced. The first thing that she asked the new manager was like, hey, what do you think about female Space Marines? And he was just like, no comment. I was like, all right, that's a very diplomatic answer. And
Smart man.
When it comes to content creators, I think that a lot of the bigger names, people like your lore tubers, like Voldemort, I guess you would call Valrak a lore tuber, kinda, sorta.
I personally wouldn't. That's me. He covers lore, so by I guess it depends on your definition. If by lore tuber it just means he has videos on lore, then fair enough. I would say it counts. For me, like a lore tuber is like that's like the passionate content. May not necessarily be like the most frequent content, because I think with most content creators, if you're looking for a regular upload, you're gonna need something more simplistic. And to do a lore video correctly, you need to, like, mine take like months to do.
Yeah, but the direction I was going with that is that a lot of these bigger names will shy away from that argument because then you're alienating potential viewers, you know. But people like you, people like me, I was going to say like Major Kill, but Major Kill does it for drama clicks. Those of us that talk about it, you know, from this perspective of having an actual conversation about it, I think more people need to do that, because otherwise all anybody ever sees of this type of interaction, of this discourse, is just what you see from, you know, the psychopaths online. You know, they're sitting there on Facebook or on Twitter, or they're, you know, scrolling somewhere, and if for some reason they come across it and they have no idea what's going on, it looks unhinged. from both sides. Unhinged. Yeah.
Half time it is actually unhinged. So it's not like that's an unfair observation of the discourse.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, in regards to the bigger voices being afraid to talk about it, to be fair to them versus us, you know, both you and I don't think it's unfair to say we're smaller creators, right? Like, I have 6K now, which was a very recent thing that happened, and you're at 2K, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was awesome to see. But in our cases, we have less to lose, arguably.
Yeah.
Like Voldemort, like being like a main example. If he were to make a video tomorrow saying that no female space marines ever, you and I safely would argue that he wouldn't lose much through it. But look at him from the distance. You know, as you said, from a distance, look at the discourse. Look how hostile it gets. And sometimes it does look like it's equal numbers on both sides, especially if you only look at Twitter or you look at Reddit. And that's where most content creators are when they see this stuff. So when they see that and it just appears to be an equal-sided thing, why take the risk? You know, like why? Because by their logic, they think like, okay, if I take a side, I lose the other half, like you said. And when they do, that's not just a loss in like fan base. That's a loss in money. That's a loss in revenue.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so for to be fair to them, that is why they avoid it. Like, they actually have a lot. Like, I don't do this for a living. So when I say something controversial or I cover something in a controversial way, I'm not putting my livelihood on the line to do that. I'm not putting anything other than just my YouTube presence, social media presence at risk. And as you've seen from my Twitter, I'm not afraid to say stuff at all from that basis. And and I don't think you are either.
No, so. And I mean, I've always been like that. If I'm going to stand by or keep a certain stance, then it's because I actually believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to, even though I agree with a lot of these progressive talking points when it comes to real world stuff, I don't agree with it from a standpoint when you're looking at a existing setting, fictional setting, that has nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So I know plenty of trans people that I am extremely respectful to, but I don't see how that fits into 40K.
It doesn't, and that's the thing. Bits himself said, like, back in 2016 on a chat board, someone found a clip of it or a screenshot of it. Why take 21st century ethics, morality, logic, and social issues and supplant them into the 41st millennium? Like, the whole point of fictional settings is it's escapism from real world issues. Like, go to a fictional world where there aren't consequences for things like that. Like, they're like, our investment in it is pure narrative, but at the end of the day, we can separate from it and not feel the consequences of it personally. So I'll never understand like the arguments to put real world politics in it. And personally, like, I don't really get involved in a lot of real world politics. I vote how I vote. I don't feel the need to talk to people about it. And even as it is these days, it's like the votes are really not good lately.
Yeah.
But,
But-
you know, I as far as this stuff goes, I hate the politics. I don't like ever bringing it up, and I don't know why they do.
Well,
They have.
Well,
Yeah.
because sorry to interrupt, but
go
because they have only one argument that politics is everything. That's what they have been taught in university, in higher education, and they have to somewhat justify the investment. That everything is political. Warhammer is political. Art is political. But I suggest find something political in, I don't know, Mussorgsky, Pictures of an Exhibition, or Vivaldi, Four Seasons. Find something political in it. It's nothing. But that's the only argument they have to inject their present deism into escapism.
Remember, most of them don't know the lore, or if they do, it's Reddit level.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yes, that as well.
They can't get into a verbal fistfight over lore. They have to make it political. That's why they go to fascist, Nazi, bigot, homophobe, all these things. Because they know if they get bogged down in a lore fight, they'll lose every time.
well, yeah, and that's one thing I said about that person that was like, oh, well, you know, female space marines, then you hate the LGBTQ community or whatever. I was like, no, that wasn't even the discussion. Like, where are you getting this from? Unless you're saying that you want them purely for ideological reasons, you know, from, like CDAT said, from a lore standpoint, it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with, you know, representation or anything like that. It has to do with the fact that Games Workshop for the past X many years has said, this is the way it is. This is the way things work. This is what happens. Right? And
Right.
all you ever do, all I ever do, all any of us ever do is just point to the stuff that already exists and say, hey, you don't have to agree with me, but you kind of have to agree with the source, right?
Right. Like, and I think CDAT's like dead on at the especially with. So when it comes to them bringing up the political argument, especially when it comes to like the fascist thing, I assume you guys have seen their most regular argument with that, which is the Imperium is fascist.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Who out of here agrees that they're fascist?
No. They don't fit the definition.
No, they don't. And when you tell them that, when you do try and meet them on the political field, like I have attempted to do so just to humor the conversation, even though I've said blatantly, again, 21st century logic being applied to a 41st century setting doesn't make sense. But regardless, I've tried to meet them on that field. And I've explained to, and so was Arch, by the way. And Arch was the first to really say this. But the Imperium is not fascist. It believe it or not, it's not fascist simply because of how free it is. And half of these people who, like you said, have only Reddit level knowledge of the setting, they're like, "What are you talking about? No one's free in 40K." And no, there's vacation worlds. There are paradise worlds in 40K where people are free to live life however they so choose. That exists in the 41st millennium. Additionally, there are rogue traders who are very free. They're allowed to do whatever the hell they want, short of crossing the Inquisition. Like there are peoples and cultures within the Imperium that are also allowed to express themselves culturally. Virtually nothing like you see it with the Imperial Guard, correct? Like you see it with the Vostroyans, the Valhalla Wintersorters, the Praetorians, the Catachan Jungle Fighters. Each of these regiments are from a world or sector of the Imperium that culturally, if you were to put them next to each other on the battlefield, which they are, they look nothing alike. Like you put a Krieg officer next to a Cadian officer. You and I know they're both Imperial Guard. They're both the same military force, arguably. But they look like completely different uniforms, completely different forces. That level of cultural diversity is not allowed under a fascist regime. And then you also have different faiths that are allowed to be practiced. Now, granted, it's only allowed with the Mechanicus, But regardless, the Mechanicus are allowed to practice a different faith than the rest of the Imperium. That would not be allowed under a fascist regime. It's far too free. So again, it's like I've tried to meet them with that argument, and then they just call me a fascist istophobe and run away. Like once you hit them with their own arguments, they still lose.
Yep.
Also, don't forget that the main function or the main purpose of fascism as a system is total state control, total control of the economy, total control of the of every sector of every aspect of said country. And in the Imperium, it is so vast. The only guiding principle of the Imperium is regarding the words it governs, that they produce the necessary manpower or material
The tithe.
to supply the tithe, exactly, to supply the guard and various other imperial organizations, and self-reliant to the point that they can fend for themselves until a help arrives. And they are free to choose their government. Nothing dictates that, aside from the planetary governor, can be a planet a democracy. Nothing dictates that. But there are no good dystopian grimdark stories set in present-day democracies.
So
Correct.
we had a couple more super chats. Nick Naylor says that's because you're dealing with children that don't understand what the term fascist or Nazi actually means and just repeat words they see.
That's correct.
I 100% agree with that. There
And
is
like children. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm pretty sure you were going in the same direction I was. Is that they have a set number of talking points and buzzwords that they are essentially required to use in order to be seen as allied with that side of things.
Yeah.
And I have a funny feeling. I'll let you finish. I think I know where you were going with that.
I was pretty much going to say the same thing. The only thing I'll add is they also changed the definitions, or more aptly, they watered the definitions down. Because when you accuse, like, I think we all started experiencing this back in 2016 when talking to the SJWs as they were called then. Now we just call them wokies, wokos, whatever. But at the time, if you confronted them about certain issues, you're like, wait, that's not a fascist, that's not a Nazi. Well, yes, it is, because fascism is a spectrum. Nazis are a spectrum. I don't know about you, but growing up as a kid, there was a definition in the dictionary for these things. Fascism was a very specific thing. So was Nazis. Like being a Nazi was a very specific thing. Now they literally just are watered down to the point where if you're called that, or if it's said, the immediate assumption is, oh, I disagree. Well, that's what it means now.
Remember, they have to have a boogeyman.
Exactly.
Now, they have to have the boogeyman are Nazis. Now, I'm probably the oldest person in the room. I grew up when World War II veterans were still pretty much hale, hardy men. And how did they handle Nazis? They mocked them. They made fun of them. Mel Brooks is a perfect example. Have you ever seen The Producers? The entire movie is one big middle finger at the Nazis. And that's just it. To them, it was, we kicked their ass, we mocked them. Oh, you're a neo-Nazi? Get out of here, kid. You retard. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but and you make jokes at the expense. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say, but they've turned it into this boogeyman that must be feared. And, of course, there are very few actual neo-Nazis, let's be honest. They're not very common.
Very few. Like, there's hardly any. Especially in like the United States, I'm not gonna say there's none, but like obviously you have the Aryan Brotherhood in like prisons and stuff.
But the demand far exceeds the supply.
Right. Like there's
so they have to yell at us and call us Nazis and we're terrible people and I'll come punch you. And I always say, I live in Florida. I'll look for you. Please. You're gonna come down and commit violence because you don't like my opinion on a
I think is they could like one of them actually did it to Jeremy the Quartering. They didn't even do that much damage to him. Like
they
that's
sucker
the best
punched
you got.
Yeah, it's
Like
like you're a bitch.
they punched the Quartering in the face. Like the guy had a full on punch of the Quartering in the face,
and failed.
and the guy barely had a bruise.
Yeah.
Like you had a full blown punch on his face, and you barely have a little bit. Jeremy had like a little bit of a pink spire. I don't know what you guys think about the Quartering. I'm not a fan of his. I don't hate him either. I go back and forth. I think he's a little bit of. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm indifferent.
Little bit too bombastic to my style. And
I think he's a little over the top, but that's me.
And the other thing is, I'm the resident European here, Eastern European to be precise. And I lost family to both the Nazis and both to the communists.
Yes.
And it pisses me off to no end when these peasants with no actual fucking knowledge throw the words around like it's nothing. And because of these actions, because of them, these words lost their meaning. Because as you said, when now in discourse, somebody is a Nazi, somebody is an East, somebody is a phobe, it just means he doesn't agree with me. Not the hard definition of the word. Because I don't know how you guys think about it, but in my opinion, you have to fulfill a very precise criteria to be described as a Nazi. And what I see is tankies denigrating the word while acting and fitting that exact definition.
Yeah, and I would agree. Like again, it's like what I said earlier. Like growing up, these words had specific definitions, specific connotations, and they should, by all accounts, still have those definitions and connotations. Being called a Nazi should be a significant statement.
Yes.
But these people, like as Sidat said, as we've been saying, they've made it a boogeyman. And the thing is, it's not a very effective boogeyman when every single person you disagree with gets the boogeyman label.
Yeah, and that's, in my opinion, that's the most egregious thing that they do, is labeling people that they have no idea who they are, what their politics are, just because they got pissed off at somebody on the internet, and they'll call you a bigot or a Nazi or a fascist or a transphobe or all these other words when it doesn't apply. And that's
just to win an online argument, because they said the more horrendous word, and you can't say anything back to that.
And to top it off, that's why I made that video about the Chudhammer anti-Semitism account. Was you're giving all these screenshots with no context. You don't know what the conversation was. It's just somebody said something that may be taken as anti-Semitic. Therefore, this person is an anti-Semite. But you don't know who they were arguing with. You don't know what they were talking about. You don't know anything. And you're basically defaming this person. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a couple random people that they found that nobody fucking knows who they are. That they're like, all right, see, that's a bad guy. So they're all like that. Nobody even knows who that is. It could be a...
And it goes so far. I have a good example of this exact thing. There is a member of my community. Her name is Syl. She's probably one of the nicest people you ever meet. Like pure fruitcake sweetness. Like she's very nice. And she's a German soldier. That's her career. IRL. And she's really nice. She's really based. Love her to death. You might have seen her on Twitter reply to some of my stuff. I don't know if you have. But there was a situation about a year ago. I brought this up a few times. But there was a situation a year ago. I made a video on it. This individual on Twitter, a Woko called Jack Frost. I got into a debate with him alongside Grim about like female Space Marines, and he was calling us bigots and stuff. And I invited him on my show. That's a reflex for me at this point. I invite them on my show, I send them a DM, and usually that's when I get blocked. But I invited him on my show. I said, hey, if you want to defend these perspectives live, I'd love to have you. And he made every excuse in the book. He was petrified of coming on. It was very clear. He got so hostile. And I eventually said, okay, fuck you. And I retweeted his stuff, and I took screenshots of the horrible things he said. And Syl jumped in and was replying to him and trying to have a reasonable conversation. And he flipped the hell out. Like, he lost his goddamn mind. And, like, some of the horrible shit he said to her, like, I actually got to pull it up because, like, going quote for quote, towards the end of it, he told her he hopes she died as a smegma-filled cockhole.
Wow.
Word for word. That is what he said to her.
Respect women.
Well, the thing is, after that...
Define women.
Yeah, after that, Forlorn Lancer, I think he's called something else. He changes his name all the time. But at the time, I know him as Forlorn. He was also on Twitter at the time, and he replied to the guy saying, dude, that's a woman you just said that to. And the guy utterly refused that reality.
But
they do that all the time. I don't know they're a woman. I saw one say, send me a picture. I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah,
send me a picture?
Like he said, I don't believe she's a woman. And he went so far as to say, I believe it's a Palestinian man.
But hey, that's a good thing now. Remember.
I was going to say,
now it is. At the time it
wasn't.
And
it is the same that post your discharge papers for the army guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Badger and I've had our fill of that one, I'll tell you.
It was completely ridiculous. It's like what's your basis for believing that? Like, it's fine if he was to go, well, I don't know, she's a woman. But that's not the argument he made. He went, no, it is Syl's not a woman, it's a Palestinian man. And was like, okay, what's the basis for Palestinian? Because she had some of Arabic text in her bio, which it's just like, because she's religious. So it's just a quote. I don't know what it translates to, but I know it's something to do like God loves you or something like that. So that's it. And based off that little text, despite the fact the rest of her bio is English, despite every time she comments on Twitter, it's in English or German, his takeaway was Palestinian man. And he continued to rave against her. Like, he said some horrendous shit to her. So that's the people we're talking about. Like that, it's. I think that's the best example you can use for their demonization. Like these people are horrible.
Yeah,
well,
but
just recently, Alex, for those that know her on Twitter or have encountered her on Twitter, young lady new to the hobby, Canadian, comes in and is like, I don't think female Space Marines should be a thing, and it was like watching crocodiles attack. And a bunch of us jumped in, and then they start screaming, you're a bunch of simps. And it's like, you're attacking her. What the fuck? What the actual
you dared to, we dared to step in and say, don't do it. Like, don't treat it. And when you try to call them out on their bad bullshit, that's when they could throw out labels.
Yep. Or they just abandon it completely, whatever the argument is, because they know they're not going to get a rise out of people, and they're not going to have something that they can screenshot and go back to show the rest of the crew, hey, look, see, I found a bad guy. See, he said this. Well, yeah, that person probably said it after you sat there annoying the fuck out of them for 20 minutes with stupid shit,
Also, don't forget that we are the nth degree removed from the original sin, Star Wars. And before us, came many more franchises: Star Trek, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, and on D&D, Magic the Gathering, and on and on and on and on. And we know how they operate. We have seen the playbooks. We know their arguments, and frankly, patience just has run out.
Yeah,
That's why when they come with the bullshit, there is always somebody to slap them down. That no, fuck you.
That's the tactic I've evolved. I don't even try to discuss or argue or debate anymore, especially if it's
I don't
usual
either.
suspects. I just tell them to go fuck themselves with a cactus.
Pretty much. By the way, Weezy Pillar, I sent you a DM of Jack Frost and stuff. I don't know if you pull that stuff up on stream, but yeah, I like recently, like I still debate them just because it's funny and it makes good content. But like recently, you know how I can't remember that Lanzer or something like that. That trans individual that was going around insulting people's minis, peddling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
part of my response to that is I have the mentality, and I've always had this mentality. I don't believe in not punching back. Like, so
can I put that in the
insulted
group
their
chat?
minis. Yeah, you can go ahead. Like I believe fully in the philosophy of I will never throw the first punch, but I will throw the last 50.
oh yeah.
You want to throw the first punch, I'll throw the last 50. And you'll never forget.
Well, when that person did that, what I found interesting, because if you see now, the wokies are suddenly trying to say, yeah, and we hit back, because that's wrong. I said it took you 3 days to reply. Most of you were silent for 3 days. Did you have to have a struggle session first?
Probably.
You know, what was the deal here?
No, they waited for the software update to what to say.
Yeah, they waited till their masters told them what to. Oh boy, you'd say that to their masters, man. That frost their ass, I'll tell you that.
Well,
if the person was on their side or not.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, how are we going to handle this person? They're trans. Yes, they're trans, and they're woke. They're woke. So what do we do?
one thing I've noticed is that a lot of them have either started blocking people or quieted down about the discourse once people started keeping receipts of everything that they say. So in the same tactic that they use, once that lens got turned around and pointed back at them, whenever they would be like, oh, well, you're this. Well, okay, but you have said this, then they shut down. Because the framing of all of this is that they are trying to give the appearance of being, good people. They're trying to be on the quote unquote right side of history to make it seem like they're somehow morally superior to you. And then once it's shown to everybody, hey, you're kind of an asshole, then they just disengage. And it's like, all right.
Not just an asshole, a rotten fucking person.
Yeah,
I think all of them.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're rotten people. I'm an asshole. They're rotten people. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah.
I could be a jackass. I could be rude, obnoxious. Absolutely. That's an asshole. To be what they are, that's like a rotten to the core. Like, they're petty. They're malicious, insidious at times. Like the doxing thing that they've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're proud of it, too. Remember when Norn Queen doxed the whistleblower of the NDAs?
Mm-hmm.
What
I don't
was
know
your
about that.
response to the... Oh, you don't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, this happened a year ago now, a year and a half. There was a whistleblower who had contacted, of all people for some reason, Goobertown Hobbies about the NDA contracts that were being sent out to influencers and stuff from Games Workshop and what that contained for like the restrictions and what they could say and like the exact layout of the NDA. He basically whistleblowed what was exactly in the NDA, and even I think some of the people who had signed it. And essentially, part of the NDA was also a non-compete clause or something like that. There was a bunch about the NDA that was like, there's normal NDAs, which is like, okay, we're going to share some secrets or some upcoming stuff. Just don't report that till after a certain date. That's a normal NDA. And I'm under an NDA from the United States government from when I worked as a contractor designing warships. Like, that was my career for 2 years. I'm under an NDA till I die. Well, it has a end date, but I'll be dead by then. If I'm not, well, I'll be impressed. I will live. I'm kind of determined to live that long just to see what happens.
Is
But-
it like a contract with the Scientologists?
Uh,
Yeah,
I don't
10,000
know.
year
I
agreement.
Yeah.
the NDA I'm under is like another 98 years, I think. So
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I think I'm gonna be dead. I think it's safe to say I'm gonna be dead. But regardless, like I know what an NDA looks like. I know the types of restrictions there, and the one I had apparently looked a little less restrictive than like I can still talk about some things I did, but I can't talk about specifics. But apparently the NDA from Games Workshop was super like restrictive as all hell of what you could talk about, and also had a non-compete clause. So I don't know the exact state of that. I didn't get to see a copy of it, but regardless, this whistleblower was sharing it, and he didn't feel safe sharing it under his identity, so he was trying to do it through a content creator. So he went to Goobertown Hobbies, or at the very least, he went to someone, and then they sent him to Goobertown Hobbies. And Goobertown Hobbies contacted Norn Queen Alexis. Now, assuming you know everyone I'm referencing so far.
Oh, to me it's clear.
Okay.
And I avoid both of them like the plague.
Wise. But Norn Queen Alexis. Now, the thing is, this is where it gets kind of creepy from Goobertown Hobby side. You know how he talks?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of creepily, eerie.
That nasally, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that creepy like psycho stare, and then that like just dead voice.
Yeah, the too friendly guy in the
Well,
in the LFG who sweats a lot.
Right. Well, he approached Norn Queen Alexis, and she not only did she dox and reveal the identity of the whistleblower, but she did it partly because she was pettily leaking all the DMs she had, or at least cherry picked DMs she had with Goobertown Hobbies about it. Now, in her, like, this is the most I could defend her about it. Obviously, I'm not on her side at all. Like, doxing is not good, not ever. But at least with the Goobertown Hobbies DMs, I can understand leaking those because those read very creepy. Now he's come out and defended himself and showcased that she didn't show everything, but based on what she showed, like especially if you read it in his voice, I don't know. Those do seem like creepy statements. It seemed weird. It seemed like he was trying to impress her and like collab with her over it. And part of how he did that was like appeal to her hatred of Arch.
Oh, that's the usual go-to.
It was a very like if you read again, she chose. I haven't seen all of them. She shared cherry picked ones, but the cherry picked ones alone seem kind of. Eh. But at the same time, he's come out and defended himself and confirmed like no, it's not how it seemed. So to be fair to him, so she is the villain in the situation. But for some reason, he was trying to collab with her about this NDA thing, and the whistleblower. And for some reason, before she had even agreed to it, actually, she had outright said, "I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not. I don't agree." And she also told him to leave her alone, and he didn't. But he then went as far as to reveal all the confidential information, including the guy's identity. And Norn Queen Alexis not only revealed his identity, but his email and a bunch of other stuff. She hard doxed him on Twitter. And she was proud of it. Like she was literally, she added GW in her tweet. She added the Warhammer community page in her tweet.
Wow.
So they would see it and get his ass.
Okay.
And she was proud of it. And when the backlash happened, did she back off? Did she admit mistake? No. She doubled down and said, "I'm taking a break from the internet for a while."
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, the usual.
And she just said everyone who's going after her was a transphobe and shit. Like that's it. And it was a horrific situation. It's like you just hard dox somebody. And what's worse, added the company that has legal grounds to sue them because they whistleblowed. And what did you get for it? Are you on their payroll? Why did you go that far?
Well, I mean, wasn't it Bitshammer that was trying to get a Games Workshop employee fired on like Christmas Eve or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another example. They dox people. for things that don't even make sense, not even for political reasons. That's an example of someone who's doxxed for what? The sin of revealing the NDA? Like, I'll never understand her logic with that. She just lost her mind.
And I remember that NDA because that's the kind of contract you don't sign.
Oh yeah,
that's the kind that you send back with a big fuck you note. That it's not something that's beneficial to both parties, because an NDA has to have some incentive to the signee, to the other part, to the content creator in this case, that makes it worth it. But that fucking NDA started with, you can criticize us for I don't know how many years, and if you say or do anything or do something with the competition, we are going to sue you, because that's what it was basically.
Pretty much.
And I, for that shit, I blame the content creator community, because for that guy to come forward and say that, hey, it's not okay, I don't think it's okay, and we should talk about it, and the others pussyfooting the issue and standing in line and signing that shit, that's why we are where we are now.
Yeah.
That's why Games Workshop thinks that just because they have a one-line communication through their promo website with the daily advertisement articles, that's why they think that suffices, that is sufficient as communication with the fan base. That's why they think that, oh, we are doing so great, we are doing so good, when all that is keeping their bottom line up is the inflated price of the plastic crack that is bought by fewer and fewer people.
Oh, yeah.
And that is why we are there where there is, I think we can fairly say it with fair confidence, that the target demographic of 12 and up is actually 30 and up. Because under 30, you don't have the financial capital to get into this hobby.
I was about to say, unless somebody's buying it for you.
Unless you've cashed in your 401k.
Yeah. So, quick pause.
Yeah, or sell a kidney or something.
Yeah. Nathan X2000 donated £4.99, saying, who left this donation here? So, yeah, I wanted to tell him thank you. I've been trying to get to a point where I could tell him thank you. But I wanted to do something fun real quick. If anybody that's watching has Steam, I would like you to open it right now. And I'm going to give everybody roughly a minute.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Lady Runesong just joined the chat. That's who I was talking about earlier.
So,
hey, Runesong.
Hey, Runesong.
The reason I say a minute because I know there's a stream delay, so I'm waiting for people to say okay.
And Runesong, I'm sorry, your D&D character cannot be the Grand Wizard of the Koopa Keep. Okay, I'm sorry.
What?
It's not allowed. I can't allow that.
Okay.
And the Grand Dragon or Great Dragon?
We're starting a D&D campaign, and she's the wizard. So
actually, I was doing D&D right before we did this. I have my own. I'm the DM of a campaign with my friends.
That's what
I did.
Bunch of retard friends, and I'm the DM. So
I had to cut the session. We had a shorter session today, so I could do this. So I'm glad they were okay with it.
All right, people are ready. In the chat, that's a Steam key for Necromunda Hired Gun. Whoever grabs it, grabs it.
Already have it.
I already have it. I do.
I know you did a video on it, and I was in your chat going, or you did a stream while you were playing it or something, and I was just like, this is garbage.
It is a garbage game. It still is to this day. Actually, a funny story about that. I was talking about how much I hated Darktide on its release, and I did. I don't know if it's been improved. I just kind of refused to play it at this point because of how it launched. But with Darktide, like, I made a video where talking about how bad that was doing and how bad that was initially. And the footage I chose for the background was just some old footage I had on my computer because I was like, I don't really want to record a game right now just to throw some footage on. So I just took some old footage, and the old footage I chose was Hired Gun. And I chose the footage versus some other games I had footage of was just because, well, it's also a shitty game. Why not take some of that footage and put it in there? So I did. And some guy in the comments was like, I don't think you have any room to talk because you play Hired Gun and that game was terrible. And I'm like, dude, it's just some background footage. And then he continued on and doubling down and was like, yes, but you chose it in the background footage. It's like, yeah, I could choose a bad game to put in the background footage. Point out to me in the video, at what point did I say, oh, by the way, the game I'm playing in the background is way better? It wasn't. They're both shit.
And for what it's worth, Darktide has gotten vastly better. Seriously.
I mean, I'll take your word for it. I'm just no.
I mean, if you're not willing to give it another try, so
not now. I'm still mad about it. Like they fucked up the release of Vermintide. People have said, and I didn't play that. But even then, with the fuck up with Vermintide 2, that because they fucked up before is not an excuse to fuck up again. If anything, it's further like you already made a fuck up. You bounce back. Don't do it again. But they did it again with Darktide, and I'm sorry, but for me, I was so hyped for that release, and then to see like everything about the game just kind of falling apart, and it felt like it was being held together with hot glue and hope. The music and everything was amazing, but that's kind of what made it more depressing. Was you saw what was great before it crashed.
Yeah,
but this is the concept with, in my opinion, the pattern with. Games Workshop licensed gaming products, because they make a base game that's missing some features, that's not there completely, but you see the potential, and then they patch it up, give DLCs that should have been in the base game, and when they are done patching it and filling it with content, then they kill it, and comes the second edition or the number 2. This happened with Vermintide 2, Battlefield Gothic 2, Total War Warhammer 2 and 3.
Yeah, but they've patched this, and they've not had the only DLC was the initial one, which isn't required. So everything has been given free after purchase. In the last year, they've added multiple missions, complete respecs, and they've not asked for another dime. So,
well,
that's the most on point comparison.
When it first came out,
I think. Sorry to interrupt, but in this case, this is the exception that reinforces the rule.
Well, when it first came out, I thought it was fine.
Alive.
Darktide or Vermintide?
Darktide. Like it?
Really?
I had no problems with it. It would crash every now and again, but me and my wife were both playing it all the way up, and it was fine.
You just admitted there was a problem if it was crashing.
Yeah, but I can't say any game is perfect and doesn't crash.
Yeah, I was going to say, give me a game that doesn't crash after a while.
Okay. Not that I want to hold your ass to the fire too much on this, but this is for me, this is a mentality of like the state of gaming that's really fucked. We're at a point as gamers, like for video games, where we're like, oh, it only crashed a couple times.
Okay, but you have the mentality of, I will never give it another try because I was butthurt from launch. You already own the game, but you won't even give it another try.
I mean, I'm not going back.
I said I'm not giving you another try right now.
Let's be honest, you're not going to give it. I mean, you've already pretty much stated you don't want to go back to it.
CDAT's a Darktide shill.
No, I'm not a shill. It's a good game, and I think everybody's being overly dramatic about the whole thing.
I said it was fine.
I know. The game sucked at launch. It had its problems. They fixed them.
I'm allowed to disagree with you,
and I'm allowed to disagree with you, and it doesn't matter how many people you have on your show. Okay?
Okay.
Like an old man didn't take his pills this morning.
No, it's like, honest to God, Everybody's talking about, well, this is a state of gaming today. Well, what are you doing? You're being a pissy little bitch about a game. Yeah, it fucked up.
I gave them money.
Not you. I'm talking about the guest.
They still paid for it.
Yes, and they fixed it.
Okay, I'm not going around advocating everyone to have my take. It's personal. I'm allowed to have a personal take.
And so is everybody else.
Yes, I'm not saying you can't.
You try to jump down my throat.
How did I jump
down my throat if you shut up.
How did I try to jump down your throat?
Dude, you immediately and then you went after Wombat.
No, I didn't.
Dude? What do you mean, dude? Come on.
Why are you mad? Don't be mad, C-Dad.
I'm not being mad, but it's like, honest to God, fucking rage people.
Don't be mad.
Oh my God.
Be nice. I don't think he was trying to be offensive.
Maybe the guest needs to be fucking nice.
He was.
Okay, whatever.
He was.
Okay.
All right,
that's the first time I've heard him go off.
Well, for fuck's sakes. All I've been
hold
listening to
on.
is bullshit.
I only have to say is that I understand where you're coming from with this. Because, yes.
Why are you busting my balls?
I'm not busting your balls. I'm just saying play
why
nice.
Why are you getting angry? Why are you getting upset?
I'm just saying we can be respectful here. But I understand where you're coming from because at launch, there were a ton of people that were being extremely aggressive with the state of the game.
Okay, even though that's me.
I know.
Okay. So
I know.
Now you're trying to put that shit on me.
No.
Saying I'm the one being aggressive.
No. Okay, I'm just saying we can be civil. We're all friends here.
Okay, but here's the thing. Somebody keeps saying I'm allowed to have my opinion. So is everybody else.
Well, yeah, but I don't think
that's a woke thing. You're allowed to have your opinion, but nobody else is allowed to have theirs.
I don't think he was implying that. He wasn't implying that.
You implied that though, because
when did I imply that? When did I imply that?
Could you shut the fuck up for a second and I'll say something? Quit talking over me, Wokey.
Why are you? Whoa. See that?
Okay, but just calm down. You came out with, hey, I'm allowed to have my opinion. And fucking you cut Wombat off 3 times when he was trying to say something.
Well, now he dropped from the call.
Well, fuck this.
What? Well, okay. Now C-Dat dropped from the call. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
I think it's too early.
You think so?
Well,
I mean...
I think... No, too early, he didn't wake up, or I don't know. But I think C-Dat took issue with something that was effectively a non-issue.
Yeah, I would call that a little bit of an overreaction. I'm not entirely sure where that came from. But,
Well, from shitting on Dark Tide.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
Because I see where he's coming from, because he's coming from the... Okay, it was shit, but it was patched.
Well, here's the thing.
Everything but the end of it, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know.
C-Dat and Asmogan got into a slap fight, and then both of them left the call, so it killed the vibe. Effective immediately.
Here's the thing.
I mean, like, other than Dark Tide, like, what was the issue?
I don't know. But my point was that there were plenty of people that were shitting all over Dark Tide, which is why I was like, well, calm down. I understand the anger, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna give him a chance to cool off from whatever that was.
Well, it's like, I mean, I saw it. Well, before I had to step away, everybody was talking about various games that sucked. I think your guest was saying something about somebody was chastising him for background, whatever. I've played all these games, and I don't know that they suck. That's my opinion.
Well,
I mean, people hate, Space Hulk Deathwing, and I'm like, man, I waited for a game like that forever because I didn't rate, or I wasn't able to afford a Sony PlayStation back in the day, if you know it, if you remember that game. And I mean, we've got stuff we've never had, so I don't understand why. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to presume to know what's going on. I mean, you know him better than I do. That's
Yeah, I missed it. That's why I don't know what's happening.
That's something you can talk about with them. You know, I'm not gonna get on a high horse and presume to speak for other people. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But it's one of those things where it was like, all right, we're all friends here. We can all be civil. I thought. I hope. You know. Yeah, that was odd. Up.
I see you got your Cadia box done because I can see my little test in the back.
Yeah. No, I didn't get it done. I moved it to where you can't see it, so you can bitch at me about it. So now it's on the other side of the room, so that you don't even. Well, whatever. Okay, so Asmogan's back. I don't know. Just I'm bamboozled. I don't know.
I don't know either. I've reacted. That was very very weird.
Yeah, it was kind of out of character for him. So I don't.
I've had nothing but good interactions with him. It was weird. He really went in on me. You would have like.
Well, that was my point. Was I can see where you're coming from, and it's true. Too many people are too quick to give developers a pass for shit that's broken.
All I was saying. I wasn't
know.
like.
I know, but I can also see why he's saying that it's not a good thing to give, or rather, it's not. We can't be overly critical of certain things that don't deserve it. You know what I mean? But I don't think either one of those things are a problem. It's like, I understand the different opinions. Mind you, I'm of the, if it works, it works. Which you heard me say that. I was like, I didn't have that many problems. I was able to get to level 30 or whatever before, you know, most people were even able to get into the fucking game. Because there were issues.
And listen, if anyone watching out there who, you know, see that included, if you enjoy the game, continue enjoying it. If you haven't picked it up, see that says it's improved. I didn't say it wasn't. Pick it up. Like, he seems to recommend it. Hey, having fun, go right ahead. But like, I wasn't saying don't get the game. I wasn't advocating currently for people not to play it. I haven't played it since it launched. It didn't work for me. I was very disappointed with it. And for me, that taint has remained on, like, for me. Like, that's it. That's all I was saying. That was all I was saying.
I'm the same way. Like, if I try something and it's either broken or it doesn't live up to what was expected, I won't go back to it at all. And that's just because it already leaves a bad taste in your mouth, right? And you're just like, okay, if they fix it, that's good because you want it to be what they said it would be. But I don't have that same fervor to jump back into something that already, it was like that with me for Hired Gun. Like, I had a somewhat high expectation for Hired Gun. And then when I got into it, I was like, I fucking hate this. I'm never touching it again. You know?
Yeah. And so, I failed to get a refund on Hired Gun, which sucks. But I've never played it since way back when as well. Like, I have the same mentality with Hired Gun. It was a piece of shit. Like, but I don't know if they fixed that game either. Like, no. I haven't touched it in years, so.
No, because I literally came back to it maybe less than a year ago, and I was like, no, this is still. Don't get me wrong, I like the aesthetic because I'm a 40K fan, and anything that lets me run around in an Underhive or something, I'm like, all right, I can get behind this. But if the gameplay is bad, then I'm just going to stand there staring at the environment, not wanting to move, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and that's, you know, for me, Dark Tide was pretty similar. It's like, I was hyped for the game, super excited, and for me, on launch, actually, if you watch my stream, I streamed it.
Yeah.
The first, 8 hours, I had no problems. Like, I was doing really, really good. I was having fun. The worst problem was, there was, one DC. And then out of nowhere, at the end of 8 hours, all of a sudden, every issue everyone was telling me about hit me all at once. I was crashing, visual bugs, the lag was immense. I don't know what happened. Like for 8 hours, like I don't know if there was like some guy behind a Fart Shark just like, I make this game smooth for the people streaming it, and then it cut off after 8 hours. But I played for 8 hours. I had a blast, and then the game fell apart. It was very sudden, and I said I'm not going. I have no interest in playing it right now. I don't want to go back to it. That's it. And I'm still a bit, unhappy with that experience. It still lingers in my mind, but I don't advocate for other people not to play it. Like if it's fixed now, good. Pick it up, play it, join the community, have fun. For me,
if I have an issue with any games or devs, it's pre-orders. I think it should be that should not be a thing, because in my opinion, it foments and encourages them to release games that are not finished.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's that whole, again, it's the mentality of if you like an IP, and you'll see people do this a lot, even me. It's when it comes to like 40K games. There have been a ton of shitty 40K games, but I'll still play them just because they're 40K, right? But it's one of those things where it's like you're trying to support the IP so they keep doing better. That was like what would happen with the whole Space Marine 2 launch, getting pushed back for another year, even though people had already bought the collector's editions for like a year. And it's like, all right, if they're pushing this back so that it is just as good and as much fun as the first one, then who am I to complain, right?
Look at that shitty ass game, Dawn of War. Who the fuck thought? I'm kidding, guys. I love
that. Get out.
Which one? Which Dawn of War?
3.
It sucks. No, I'm kidding.
Everybody loves 3, right?
1's the best. 2's pretty good. 3 doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But it like Genocide said in chat, brand loyalty is the thing. Absolutely. I mean, there's people that will play every single fucking Final Fantasy game that comes out, and it's just like, pretty sure some of these are bad. No, I don't care. It's Final Fantasy. But yeah, I know Asmogan needs to leave here pretty quick.
Yes, I do. I have to work.
Some of these people have day jobs, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Myself
thank
included.
you for having me on outside of whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. Hopefully we can do it again. And
it was a fun experience. It was good talking with you.
Likewise.
And then the rest of us are going to sit here and just talk our usual shit.
All right, I hope you guys have a good time.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay. Now the awkward silence of...
That was the best stream. There's no stream better.
God damn it.
Well, sometimes it happens. Sometimes the branch gets thrown into the engine, and this happened.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of can we keep going, and it, like you said, shit happens. There's another super chat, and I wish I could see the whole goddamn thing. Oh, it said this argument is like civet coffee. It's great after a lot of work, but it doesn't change the fact that it is literally made from shit. Yeah. That's a pretty accurate statement. Yeah. What is it? What do they call that? Kopi Luwak or something like that? It was sitting there. It's like, I want to try it, even though I know it's made from shit. But it's expensive. So it has to be good, right?
Well, it's the inherent value problem. Because it's expensive.
Well, I mean, aren't we seeing that with like most new releases that they bump the price up for damn near everything? Not because of inflation or anything, because remember, everything's fine. But because they know you're going to pay for it. Especially games like fucking Call of Duty. They could make that game $150. People are still going to pay for it.
Yeah, and what I heard is they are planning about with the, I don't know, Nintendo or whatever was the latest leak after some ransomware attack. That they want to move away from the $60 and the $70 price tag and move to $100 and more.
Yeah.
And release the game in multiple installments, paying for everything. Part 2, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. And that's... Oh, fuck you. That's...
Well, it's...
For this amount of money, a game has to have at least, I think, 100-hour content or more. And not just dicking around in a big open world, but hardcore content. But that's not feasible, because with the ballooning budgets for the AAA games, they would never make their money back, even with these proposed inflated prices.
Well, one thing that Maddie just pointed out in chat is that like people will still buy all the new Dark Angel stuff and codexes. Talking about the Dark Angel box that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
And again, it's limited. You only get one shot to buy this thing, and then it's gone forever. It's that.
Yes,
I don't even think it's a good deal.
Yes, and you have to wait half a year for the regular release. So, FOMO.
Yeah, that FOMO business model. And that's... Let's be real here. From a company's standpoint, that is profitable. If you're making something limited and you're saying this is your one shot to get it, of course, if people are loyal to the IP, then they're going to do everything that they can to get this one thing, because there's never going to be another one. And I had somebody comment on my video about the fact that Games Workshop seems to be actively fixing the scalper issue. Is that the guy said, "Hey, you can't blame the consumer," and I don't necessarily disagree with that.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but they may have looked at what the probability is of anybody really going after them with lawsuits from all the guys that bought multiple copies, and probably figured you're not going to fucking do anything.
Well, yeah, but my point with that is that yes, you can't blame the consumer for wanting to get something that they missed out on, and that's not my point of view, because I'm just like everybody else. If I know something is limited and I'm not gonna be able to buy it, then yeah, I'm gonna do what I can to acquire it. But at the same time, you're creating this parallel scalper economy if that's the only method of obtaining that thing. You're enabling these people, you're allowing them to keep going because you're giving them your money at an exorbitant rate. And then they're just going to turn around and buy more and buy more and buy more because they know they're going to make money off of you. It's the same thing that Games Workshop is doing.
Yep. And it's not even a good set. It's not even a good box set.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the chat. Lady Runesong has a really good question. What hobby purchase would you guys say was more than worth it, what you paid, and what purchase was absolutely not? And from my point of view, I think almost all of the big releases since the reintroduction of the Sisters of Battle, aside from the Wotan release, the Wotan big box, was effectively not that worthwhile, not that good.
Black Reach box set. The Black Reach box set was one of the best you could buy.
Yes, I remember that.
For me, the worst purchase that I made was spending $180. Well, I think she said both, but I bought the $180 box set for War Boss, and that was for the limited. And it's probably the most lazy mega box for a book that I've seen them thrown together. And the only cool thing about it was you got little like teeth that came with it. Mm-hmm. I was like, I just paid almost $200 for this thing that's going to sit on my shelf and do nothing for eternity.
Well, it will look pretty, but yes, Badger, you are right. I remember when the Black Ridge box came out, and in the independent retail store that I was frequenting, they were keeping a tab of who wanted an orc part, who wanted a marine part, and and effectively organizing people that, okay, you don't have to buy a complete set, and here is a partner to share with.
That's fucking badass.
Yes, and it worked very good, and it was a good investment also for everybody, because for Marine players there was a captain, a tactical squad, a dreadnought, and that was that. And for the orcs, a war boss, a mob of big boys, and some death couples. And it was, well, a fairly balanced list. And also it had I think it had some terrain, right?
Had what?
The Black Ridge box had some terrain, right? Or it was the...
I don't think so. That was the next one, the Battle for McCrag with the Tyranids and the Space Marines.
Yeah,
with the
but
spaceship and the pilot.
yeah, but you bought two of these, either halves, and you had a beginner force, and it was very beginner friendly.
Well, the Orc War Boss was badass. I know. I bought
Yes.
6 boxes, I think. And then now they serve as knobs because I have the Gazgul model. I hear you laughing at me, see that. I hear you.
My biggest, greatest purchase was Dark Tide. I want to say it where everyone, Weezy, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I just, it's not that I'm a shiller. It's the greatest game ever made. But, if you're not going to give it another try, then maybe withhold opinion. If you're not going to even give it because it's, even Badger would say it's vastly improved, even since he started playing.
Yeah, I got the cosmetics I want. There's only 2 guard regiments for me, and that's Steel Legion and freaking Krieg Death Corps. Everybody else, they're just, criminals that are, penal legions.
So
come at me.
I want to apologize for me being me.
Well, that's
chasing your guests off.
Fucking fascist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, a botched launch can sour a loyal customer. That's...
Yeah, and that's...
Well, I'll tell you another good set is the Dark Imperium, because I bought 13 of them.
Yeah.
That was the way to get it.
Fucking crackhead.
Hey, look. Dude, so I didn't know, and for this how dumb I was, I guess. I didn't even know that was coming out. Of course, I just got off contract, right? Got back to States and stuff. All I saw were new armored Space Marines. Had no idea about Primaris. Didn't know that they were larger than my firstborn. So, between that and the fact that Death Guard is like one of my, probably my all-time favorite, next to Iron Warriors, I was like, oh my God, I can get all these Death Guard and all this stuff. That was a lot of stuff in that box set for the price.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I said what my worst buy was. I know what my best buy was. You ready for this?
Ended in Death, Volume 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's a fucking lost cause. No, it was the Word Bearers trilogy box set. I'm proud of that one. I'm proud of that box set. It's sitting right here. I'm gonna
shut up, bigot.
I thought it was those Cadians.
Yeah, those two. Actually, the one thing, the box set. I've only bought 2 box sets, right? The Cadian one, and I bought the Horus Heresy box set, the big one.
Horus who?
Horus who?
Cult or what? Or the battle forces?
No. But the fucking mega box thing. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
The best. Okay. I'm gonna tell you now. I forgot I had this. Do you guys remember that old Tyranid swarm? Massive box with the freaking just a ton of gaunts, ton of gargoyles. It's freaking massive.
Iron Swarm or something for Apocalypse.
Something like that. Yeah, I bought one of those. I kept the box just because.
I remember an ad running in Wide Dwarf in 5th edition, I think. You could have bought the complete Ultramarines chapter.
I need to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay. I remember that one. That was another one that came out when I didn't know it was coming out. I would have bought probably 10 of those.
And there was also the Space Marine Megaforce. I was pining for that, but back then I was a broke high school student, so couldn't buy it.
That was in like a giant brick of a box, wasn't it?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, well, it was half a human, I think, because I've seen it not as I've seen comparisons with other boxes, and it was half a human.
I'm not gonna shank you, dude. I'm with you. No, I mean, I don't know. I just got this thing. Well, I mean, dude, I was part of the problem. You know, you guys know I love Space Hulk. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, you had how many Space Hulk sets do you have? 20?
Yes.
8. I have 8. But
Just-
well, 8 of the last edition, and then I have the second edition and first edition somewhere. But it's, I mean, what am I trying to say here? If you look at the cost of this hobby, I mean, there's no way any of us, especially me, would be able to afford what I possess right now. I'm very lucky, having done it through the years. I can't even fathom getting started right now on a large scale with the
Mhm.
amount. I mean, back when, and I remember, I mean, unless I'm off by $5 or something, I don't think I am. The first box of 10 Space Marines I ever bought cost me $20. And what are they now? 60, 65? That's crazy.
Even that
For,
kill
for,
team
for
was 50.
firstborn, by the way, for firstborn.
Even that kill team through Amazon was $50 for
Yeah.
what, 10, 11 figures?
Something. I don't remember. But yeah, I
think
mean,
it was like 11.
you know, I bought these knights that I'm sitting here putting together. The Renegade box set, which had 2 knights in it. I think I got each box for just under $100. One night costs you what now? For one night, like 110 or 150?
I think it was 100. Somebody broke it down from pounds to dollars. It was like 125 for a night.
Man, that's crazy. And I don't understand why Games Workshop is doing this. I really don't. I mean, unless, you know, like we kind of alluded to before, they see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as, you know, we're going to make as much money as we can and bow out of this thing. And that's what they're doing. But I don't know if I fully subscribe to that because they're constantly, you know, coming out with newer models and stuff.
Well, I don't know because it feels like a revolving door of new stuff that gets always more powerful and better and must have than what came before, and this is how they sustain effectively their modern range. Because
Right.
you don't want to buy the old stuff because it's not powerful enough to stand up on the tabletop. You want to buy the new stuff.
Right. Well, and that's, yeah, unless I'm misnomering this, that's pay to win. And I think that ruins the game, in my opinion.
Well, it was the model in the 5th edition, because always the latest codex that came out was automatically the winner, and was the best, the better, the strongest army until the next one came out. Because I remember when the Leaf Blower Imperial Guard army list
Leaf blower.
was the hot shit, and you were removing Marines under the Strength 8 AP3 templates with a snow shovel. And after that came after Guard came, I think, Space Wolf, and then that was the hot shit. Then the Dark Eldar, and the last, or at the end, or at the very end was the Blood Angel Codex with the Dropland Raider as the troop transport, and that's when I said, okay, I had enough. This is unsustainable.
Yeah. Well, it's man, I don't remember any of this being around in 3rd edition this way. I know that I guess, well, no, we didn't have to wait on codexes, I don't believe, so much as there were updates, I guess, that they did.
Yes, because in third edition, I think there was a Chaos Codex, and then there was a 3.5, effectively.
Yeah,
the
and
Chaos
Codex
Space Marines,
Dark
and-
Eldar got an update, and Dark Angels got an update.
Yes.
I think the
Yes,
only
but-
ones that people were really waiting on was Blood Angels and Space Wolves, and they weren't so far dissimilar from the regular Space Marine Codex. And I mean, I still have them. I'd have to look at them, but I don't recall them being like super powerful or anything like that. It was just like, okay, well, your Gray Hunters are, have true grit and they can one arm a bolter and carry a chainsword. Well,
Yes, but the Blood Coats have Furious Charge.
yeah. Yep. I mean, it didn't seem all that overpowering, in my opinion. And also the missions, I've said this so many times on my channel, the missions, man, I don't even understand the concept or the point of having missions in the books now when it's always the same damn thing. It's, set up your terrain in an L-shaped formation, put your objectives out, go. That's it. There's no real tactics. It's literally back to, or literally is Math Hammer. There's nothing
Yes.
else involved. Whereas if you look at third edition, and even in the rule books and stuff like that, they didn't have like tons of terrain that you couldn't see past and this kind of stuff all the time. You had to deal with the uncertainty of, holy crap, I'm in the open, or I've just been. I mean, I don't know if you remember that one mission where you as the defender, where you started out in the middle of an ambush and you were trying to make your way off the table.
Yes.
I mean, that one was brutal, but it was fun. And it's like, I don't know that people have the what am I trying to say? The attitude to play something like that. I realize you probably couldn't do that, say, in a tournament, but I mean,
yes,
I think
and don't forget that in fourth and fifth edition we had supplements, cities of that, Planet Strike, Planetary Empires, and the mission book.
Wait a minute, those aren't real rules. I've been told that on Twitter.
Those aren't real. Oh, sorry. Then I'm just making shit up. I'm just making shit up. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And
I mean,
don't
it's sitting
forget
right here, Codex City Fight, but that's not real. Chapter approves not real. Freaking what else? Index Astartes is not real. Supplement.
That motherfucker's not real.
Yeah. That motherfucker is not real.
Oh.
Damn shit.
That's the only thing that's not real, lady.
She had a nice rack. Sorry, Lizzie.
Yeah, but
all the Badger noticed was like, I don't know about what's real, but it's a nice rack.
Well, as someone who worked in aviation, if she decides that after boarding is finished, I'm going to beat her under the wing. Because fuck a full cabin check. Fuck a full cabin check. That shit is half an hour if the crew is good.
Well, and what happened to our stuff like God, I just had it on the tip of my tongue, but what was it called, when there's a death and glory attack, against vehicles from getting run over and shit. I mean,
yes.
That stuff, it brought character to the game.
That's why your Space Marine Sergeant had a power fist. Death or glory.
Yep.
Strength 8. Punch it in the mouth.
Well, you're dead.
And either you did or the sergeant got run over, and
right.
Well, that happens. That happens, but that was a flavor.
Yeah.
And now you just who can roll more d6 dice and get more successes.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know which edition of Age of Sigmar was this, but I was watching.
Talking about Age of Sigmar.
Yes, I watched a competitive game, and in the deployment phase, one guy was pre-measuring the other's army to avoid a round one charge in his deployment zone. And that's when I said, okay, this game
right there.
that game is not for me because that's bullshit.
I mean, as someone who likes melee armies, I disagree with you fundamentally. That sounds based.
it sounds base, but not in round one.
Okay,
Not
look,
not in the first phase when you can charge. That's bullshit.
have you never wanted to turn one charge a group of Tau?
No, I want to drop behind them a squad of assault marines and have him choose.
Okay,
Either
so
turn
you're a
around
Sodom,
and
good to know.
shoot and I come forward, or shoot at me and then get fucked from behind.
Yeah, exactly, Sodomite. Okay.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing?
I came in at
Are
the
you
wrong
better?
time.
Sodomite.
Are we better?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
asking Coke specifically because he said he was having some health issues.
I mean, we know Metroid now wants to sodomize Tau, but I mean,
Who doesn't?
That's crazy.
Well,
Yeah, no, I'm dying of the plague currently. I just need to take a break. I'm reading some articles for school, and they are kind of dry.
Hear that?
well, you earned
I'm
a
on
little
here
break.
procrastinating school.
What was that?
Said I'm on here procrastinating school.
Yeah. And I'm doing the same for The Origins of Spanish American Independence by John Lynch.
That sounds dry.
Lame.
48 page. Well, I'm fine with dry stuff. I'm reading General Rouse's Panzer Operations right now for fun. But yeah, I'm sick and I'm having to read something dry, so
Nazi.
yes,
Huh?
yes. I believe in socialism and German nationalism. Yes, yes.
Trotskyism.
I do not know who Trotsky is. He sounds like communist.
Speaking of, have you noticed the rise in Austrian and German politicians calling for German nationalism?
Actually, yes, I have.
And it's like, okay, one hand, it's like, okay, I've heard this song before. Two, I can't blame them with the way, especially Germany, has gotten just train wrecked by their politicians.
Look, as long as they stop with France, we're good.
I'm good. Yeah, I really can't fight that one either. It's like,
Easy's gonna get deplatformed.
I mean, the trees are already there. So,
Look, man, I've said way worse on this freaking channel, and Combat's still alive. Hey, Combat, look, he's so happy to see me.
you can tell.
Blink if you are held hostage.
Yeah.
Blink twice if you're being held against your will.
He's like, I am by all you fuckers.
True.
Hey, look, at least I didn't say my first favorite German ever is Austrian.
Look, I'm going to say
Just
this.
did.
I'm going to say this, and people can get mad at me if they want. At its core, I don't think that nationalism is a bad thing. I think ultra-nationalism is a bad thing. But being proud of where you're from and wanting things to not go to shit isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's just me.
They certainly have tried to demonize it, though, haven't they?
Okay, before I accept that definition, I need to understand what you define as ultra-nationalism.
I'm talking like neo-Nazi, the country must be pure ultra-nationalism.
Okay, then yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
Okay,
Now,
good.
if you were talking about,
I would hope you wouldn't.
Well, look, okay, I will admit I was trying to find some of those, but like C-Dad said, they don't exist anymore. The only ones I've been able to find are just Fed boys.
Here's the thing though. Ultranationalism, nationalism, Jesus. As defined by the woke today, and I'll just speak of our country, is your pride in America, period. So there is no middle ground. And you have to ask these stupid questions. No offense, dude.
No, you do, because, I mean, just the pride, for example, that the two of us have, having served our country, is suspect.
Dude, you got the FBI out there, and it's been this way for years and has not been fixed. If you guys all saw that list the FBI put out about what constitutes an extremist.
Are you on that list?
The
No
Betsy
comment?
Ross flag, some other things.
Yeah, I was just going to
Probably.
say, to me, it was more of a checklist of suggestions than an actual.
Right, but I mean, seriously, the Gadsden flag and all that. I mean, running into people like, oh, that's extremism, dude. It was literally the first flag of the United States Marine Corps. So I guess you just labeled the entirety of the United States Marine Corps as extremists.
Well, yes, they would.
And
I mean, hey, what's
couldn't
wrong
have
with
picked
being
the worst branch to do that with.
I mean, but to be fair, there's nothing inherently wrong with being an extremist because it's just you have the most extreme version of an ideology. That doesn't necessarily inherently mean something bad.
I totally agree.
An extremist Christian could mean someone who lives in a box under the road and gives all of their money away to charity. That is technically an extremist.
Yep.
Well, and yeah, again, it's like it's another thing they've labeled as, well, this is bad, except many of them are extremists.
They all are.
And that's the funny that that they see that as they don't see that as extremism. They see what they believe as the normal, everyday, middle of the road.
Yeah,
and it's like, talk about head up your ass.
It reminds me of this. Reminds me of this really funny meme I saw on Twitter where it's like someone made an image that's like a ship at sea, a town, an army, and then a castle with a king on top, and then they flipped the image. And on the left side, it's our glorious expedition, our faithful citizens, our defending army, our great capital, and our glorious king. And then the exact same things on the other side are the evil invaders, the vile primitive bastards, the vile invader. Like it's just basically like what's on the opposite side of you is just evil if you have no sort of literacy.
Well, and that's kind of why, and I'm not going to speak for Benjamin, but that's kind of why, at least myself, that every time I get told by the news that Group A is the bad guys, and I just look and say, they haven't done anything to me or to anybody I know or where I live, but they're the bad guys. Well, why are they the bad guys?
Well, first thing I say is, I want to know everything that you supposedly know before I make a decision.
Is there something that we don't know about this particular group of people that makes them the uber ultra bad guys? Well, they're bad. Why? Well, the TV said so. Well, the TV says a lot of things.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well, the TV is articulating the viewpoint of the centralization of the world and the erasure of individualism for the value of turning people into individual cogs of the machine. So people who stand with individualism of people, individualism of nations, and having distinct cultures, yeah, that's going to be evil by the perspective of people who want to erase all of that.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry if I'm talking down to you guys, and you guys.
No, man, no. Dude, you're saying it a lot more eloquently than I have.
But it's like, well, we're seeing it again. I mean, it's literally happening as we speak. Well, this group is bad. Why? Because they shot at ships. Okay. So why are we fighting it? Well, because they're bad. Okay, but I'm sorry, I don't remember Team America World Police being a training film.
Dude, fucking Lady Rune songs like me, where's U.S. flag pin? She also goes, woke, Yahtzee!
Exactly.
I prefer pinwheel enjoyers, but that's still funny.
Oh, God. Look, I love calling them Don Quixote. I said, are you related to Don Quixote? Who? Never mind. You already answered my question.
Yeah, they don't even know who that is.
I don't even know who that is.
Maybe that's what we need to do is just say, look, keep fighting the windmill, okay?
I do. I put a picture of a windmill. I'm like, your next objective is.
Yeah.
But, sorry to get that off of hobbies there.
No worries.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, you're apologizing to him.
What the fuck would I apologize to you?
I thought you were just apologizing in general.
No, I only apologize once a day, and usually it's to my wife for something stupid.
Yeah, Shadow was just like, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I accept. Wait, what? Who are you?
Is that the requirement? Apologize once a day to your wife? Because if that's true, I got a lot of apologizing debt.
Well, I figured there's always something I've done stupid, so.
Oh yeah. I always say something, and my wife's like, "Oh, are you going to apologize?" Like, why? Oh wait, maybe I should just do it.
Then you start looking around for like, did I break something?
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
He's a hard sleeper. He doesn't know she's standing over him with a pair of scissors.
That's my worst fear. I have I have all this fucking weaponry on the wall. It's like I could wake up one night and I pissed her off or something, and she's standing over me with a fucking double-headed battle axe. She's like, apologize.
Tore your hair off.
Yeah. See, I trust her enough to get the scissors close to my hair, but
not his throat, but his hair.
Not my throat, but the hair. The hair is fine, and the weaponry on the wall. And now she's staring at me. The weaponry on the wall is terrifying. So it's like
you're giving her ideas.
Yeah, I piss her off enough.
My wife probably figures if I was ever that bad and she wanted to get back at me, she'd just hold a match near the game room and I would smell the gasoline. And...
Oh my God. She has threatened to sell my book so many times and I'm just like, please don't.
That's why I have mine on Kindle.
No, the problem is that when she says the books for what you said you paid for them.
Oh. Well, we've already figured out if something happens to Badger number 1, me and a few others, we're all driving up to his house with a U-Haul, and we're just going to haul all that shit out.
We need more than a U-Haul.
We're going to start a GW store with it.
I don't think U-Haul makes the truck big enough.
I've already said that you could start up a small little hobby shop with all the shit that's in here.
Oh, no, he could start Warhammer World, okay? Which I would
I saw the picture of the shelves full of his Grey Knights.
That's just one. That's just one area.
It's not even like, I don't know. This is like the worst measurement possible. It's not even 1/16.
You've got to do a walk around to your basement.
I know. I'm working on
that. Put that shit on your YouTube channel. Then what we'll do is we'll review it on the show.
That's what I was gonna do as a live stream for Q&A.
Motherfucker.
You're gonna be like, that's why I can't get no fucking Dark Angels. Fucking guy right there.
This guy's your scalper. This is your scalper.
Badger, I have a very serious question.
Yep.
Do you have the Legion of the Damned models?
Not anymore. And I wish. So there was a time I thought I would. This is going to sound really pathetic, but I thought that the barrier to me finding a good woman after my divorce and stuff years and years ago was the hobby. And so I started selling everything off on eBay. Believe me when I tell you that what you will see, I had twice that. And then one day I just woke up for many reasons and was like, the fuck are you doing? And I stopped selling and started buying again. So the short answer is no, I don't have those anymore.
Fuck.
I don't know.
That's like me with paint. Like I'll buy paint because it's like that's a color I don't have, but it's gonna give me like 10 more bottles that I don't need. Which
right. Now I went, dude, when they made Legion of the Damned an actual army, dude, I went fucking nuts buying Legion of the Damned shit.
Those are the Emperor's equivalent of bloodletters, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Imperial sanctioned demons. Well, basically. Space Marine Ghosts on Fire.
Does anybody know the story and what book it in? I mean, I have the book somewhere. I just don't know which it is. Of this, when the Legion of the Damned, I think it was. Shit, who was it? I can't remember what chapter they supported. But they came in, they supported this Space Marine chapter in Guard, and then they basically said a tithe is due. And this fucking apothecary, or maybe it was a tech marine, somebody was like, I don't know what the fuck he said, but it pissed off one of the Legion, and the guy just looks at him and fucking kills him right there in front of his captain or whatever. And he was like, are you ready to go now? Does anybody remember that one?
It was a short story, I remember. Yeah. It's somewhere here. Yeah,
it was actually a really good story.
Yeah. See, I'm like half of everyone's age here, so it's probably something that was out before I was born.
How can you be one? We're only two.
It was a Halloween collection. Let me fuck it.
It was a really good story.
Give me a moment, I will find it because it is in my ebook library, but I can't find the name of it.
The one that you posted, the one in the Dropbox, or a different one?
No. It's another one.
Gotcha. Oh, by the way, you are a saint for that ebook, for that Dropbox.
Here it is, the Legion of the Damned. No.
Metronoid is like the
Looking
resident
for a Legion of the
encyclopedia.
Damned.
Yeah, he's our resident arch.
Well,
He was looking for a Legion of the Damned book, or
No, it's a story.
No, it's a short story, but it was available on Black Library. It was a bundle of 6 stories.
No, I don't have it as the bundle. This was in some kind of, I don't know, maybe it was a short story book.
Well, I have the short stories. I'm just looking for it.
okay, I've got a collection called Flame and Damnation. Would it be in that?
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
Votum
sure.
and Furnace, Remorseless, Animus Malorum, Ship of the Damned.
Yeah,
Tongue
this
of
is
Flame.
the collection. This is the collection.
Okay. Now who's Arch?
I still say Metronoid because he's got an accent.
There you have it.
Wait, Arch has an accent?
Some kind of accent.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, he's Estonian. He doesn't sound American.
No, it's a Swede, right?
No, he's Norwegian.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he's Norwegian.
Yeah, no, I just whatever Baltic Sea people is not Norwegian, I'll just like say one of those. Just like I was calling I think I was jokingly calling Metronoid like Bulgarian or something, and then someone said like he was Polish, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad. I thought you were Hungarian.
You bigot.
Yeah,
It is Animus Malorum, by the way.
That's the story?
Yeah. Laurie Goulding.
yes, our resident
chapters
Bulgarian.
in that do they support in there? Like, what Space Marine chapter did they save?
Just
Was it Ultramarines?
No, Ultramarines never need saving. I'm going with Salamanders.
Yeah. Ultramarines are always needing saving.
I thought it was always
You
Blood
know,
Angels and Salamanders.
And it's definitely not Salamanders. How dare you?
Hold on, what novel? This is a story Art shared about the Marines Malevolent. What novel is it in where like the Salamanders get stuck somewhere, and then the Marines Malevolent show up and it's like, "Hey, we'd help you, but you know, fuel's kind of expensive. Why would we help you?" And they just take all their fucking war gear. What novel is in that? Does anyone
I
know?
don't remember that story.
Damn it!
You sure it was Salamanders?
Yeah, no, because he brought it up in the Marines Malevolent video. That he did. He was like talking about like some examples of them just being the sheer assholish bastards, and that was one that came up.
Oh, look at me. I don't know.
That's weird because they don't have the numbers to be pulling off bullshit like that. That's how you get fucking murked, even by Salamanders.
That's assuming they're Codex compliant.
I would assume they're not, but I doubt that they're on the scale of, say, Templars. All I know is, and I maintain this position, and I will until I die or they're dead, the High Lords of Terror need to be murked. All of them. There needs to be no more of them.
So the answer to the 44th millennium question is 1776.
Yeah.
Well, I skimmed through the story real fast, but it does not specify the chapter. It just submarines against an Orkwa.
Does it describe color?
No, it doesn't go into specifics. It just gives the names.
Maybe I misremembered that, but I think you're right. I don't think it does.
Do they name any of the Space Marines? Because if it's something like Ragnar, then we can assume it's Space Wolves. And if it's something like impronounceable, it's probably Salamanders.
Well, it's it's Latin sounding, like, but it has other names. So it's most certainly a successor chapter, but you couldn't pin it down which one. It's not the Ultramarines because there are no Octavians and other Roman sounding names. Not the Space Wolves, also. Not the Salamanders.
Like, what are some of the names they give?
It's just a generic Space Marine chapter, I think, without a name.
Okay, so we know it's not
Because
the
the focus is on the squad and the interaction and the debt incurred and the debt paid.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they save these Marines, and then they're like, they want this one guy because he fought, fucking literally with honor in the way basically the Emperor would have viewed. And then there was somebody else, either the Apothecary or Tech Marine, that had a beef with this whole thing, and they were like, I don't even think they said anything. No, I think he did. He said something about you fought without honor or something like that, and he shot the dude in the face, I believe.
Yeah, I need to reread those stories.
Do what?
I need to reread those stories.
Well, that's back. That's back when shit was still grim dark. It's not like that.
Yes.
Anymore. Now everybody's.
Yes,
who's got the next My Little Pony?
Yes, because that was the time when the Space Marine battle stories I told you about were a thing. And my favorite to this day is the Legion of the Damned story and the Wrath of Iron story. The Legion of the Damned, because it effectively describes, in the second half of the book, a Khorne blood crusade descending on an Imperial planet.
Right.
And one understrength Space Marine company with the local populace, effectively conscripted, defending the planet. From the perspective of the newly promoted captain. And the Marines die. Horrific fucking deaths. And the people die horrific fucking deaths in that. And it's grimdark.
If you don't change your name to Arch-Metronoid, I'll never forgive you.
Wait, what?
So if he doesn't change his name to Arch-Metronoid, I'll never forgive him.
And I'm not going to go into spoilers how the Space Marine captain effectively saves the day, but when everything seems lost, it's a really good description of how the Legion of the Damned fights and how they take out effective 10,000-year-old chaos Khorne Berserker Terminators.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's see that has it. Badger has it. It's a really good story to read. Gotcha. And the other is the Wrath of Iron, because I remember in 5th edition Codex there was a little blurb about effectively the Iron Hands clearing a planet or a sector I don't remember, and after that killing 1/3 of the population. And this book, The Wrath of Iron, is effectively the final campaign on the final planet against the Slaanesh infestation, and the closing of the book is from the perspective of one conscripted female Imperial Guard soldier when they are going to do the decimation. And that's the end of the book. That she fought through the campaign, she lived through it, she survived it, then she went and hid, and she was found, and she was among the decimated.
I mean, heck, she ran like a coward.
No, after the campaign. This is after the campaign.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm sure the Inquisition had a completely justified excuse to execute this person who sacrificed herself for the Imperium.
This was not the Inquisition. This was the Iron Hands, because the flesh is weak. And the Iron Hands don't fuck around with that.
Does Swanee know about this?
No. Or I don't think so, but it was among the book recommendations I sent her, so maybe she might.
Hey,
But
Toril.
listen, that book is a really good insight into the mindset of the Iron Hands 10,000 years removed from Ferusmans.
So I want to say something now that Torolf's here. He's not allowed to turn his camera on because he's fucking scary. And I was giving him shit. Torolf, it's fucking scary. A scary motherfucker.
No, he's not. He's chill. Look at him. Look at that PFP. That is a PFP of a perfectly normal, insane person.
Bro, if I saw him in a dark alley and he was walking towards me, one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to walk in the other direction or I'm going with him because I know nobody will fuck with me.
Why is it in the dark alley, you bigot?
I don't believe you. I think Torolf is
He
like,
lives there. That's why.
I think Torolf is a perfectly normal, insane person.
I think so too.
That's because you don't know me that well.
I'm trying to help you.
Nah, it's all good.
Damn it, Torolf.
I told him, and I was like, I'm not saying this like to insult you. I'm saying this because I'm thoroughly impressed by how fucking scary you look. Like, I'm just saying, if he doesn't start a fucking metal band, like in the next 6 months, I'm gonna be upset.
Okay, now I'm curious.
That's my 20s. I don't got the strength or patience for it anymore.
You don't even have to do that. You just stand there and look menacing for the album cover.
I used to play drums, so.
Well,
In fact,
Dude, his voice reminds me of that dude in 13th Warrior when what's his face figures out what they're saying. He goes, "I don't sound like that."
the old archer. The old archer. No. The old
No,
the old white beard with the Roman gladiator helm.
the guy who
with the
took the
pelts.
freaking horse down by himself.
Yes, that was a Swedish bodybuilder.
that was a great movie, by the way.
That movie is amazing.
That is a criminally underrated movie, and
What is it? 13th
13th
Warrior?
Warrior.
yes,
Yeah, if
Never
you've never
heard of
seen
it?
man. You were missing out. You're
It was-
also a con.
it was
Sir,
based
this movie's older than me, okay? Cut me some slack.
it was based on a Michael Crichton book called Eaters of the Dead. Just
yes,
saying.
and I found it because
cool.
it could, in Hungary it couldn't be found in print form. I found it in RTF form, and I read it on a CRT monitor.
Wow.
Yes,
Fuck that.
yes.
I feel like
My
I feel like most Eastern Europeans are still doing that.
Ouch.
no, we have LCDs now because nobody produces CRTs anymore, so we had to evolve.
Just picture
Like what?
Metronoid in a bunker, just with his book collection and a CRT monitor.
And a stack of cassette tapes. Everybody's like, "What? That's you motherfuckers."
I'm also envisioning
you-
a shaggy horse and a bow, but I feel like that's actually racist.
Not really. I had
Oh
two
god.
ideas. I had two ideas, and one was to learn the language of the court from the, I don't know, 11th, 12th century. Get the matching garments and the horse with a matching garment, and ride into town and look for the court. Just as shits and giggles.
So am I allowed to call you a Magyar? No.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
Okay.
can. Yes, you can.
Arch Metronoid the Magyar.
I mean, everybody told me that it's a stupid idea, but I think to do that is sublime, and to keep
Sounds
keep the trolling until the very last possible moment.
Ravlik says that we need to hear him scream before he can be in a metal band.
You got headsets on?
Yeah, good enough.
You
I
might
don't.
want to take your
I don't.
speakers away a bit. You ready?
Oh, he's serious.
Holy fucking
Gets my vote.
Jesus Christ.
It cut out in the middle.
Holy fuck.
I thought he was joking. It was like, thank God I actually moved mine.
I waited. I was watching you on the camera before you did it.
Jesus.
So
Well, you are not discount Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie is discount off.
okay, now I'm actually agreeing with Combat. You
that's
might
funny.
be a horrifying person if you can make that kind of scream.
Oh, that is funny.
Fuck.
So, did I miss the part where we all unanimously agreed that gloss varnish is the devil and that Wheezy's using it wrong?
No,
I don't remember that getting brought
Yes.
up, and I don't know what gloss varnish is.
you missed it, but we're not going to talk about it.
That's good. I don't want to get enraged. I just woke up.
Gloss
So
varnish
as I was saying, you should gloss varnish all your minis.
Oh,
Uh,
you son of a bitch.
Three
In fact-
coats. 3 coats.
In fact, I've got several Ultramarines that require a gloss coat at this point.
Well, it's
Yeah, nobody cares about all
canonically speaking, a gloss varnish on an ultramarine is correct. Because
Three
you can
coats?
see the Smurf coming.
Huh.
So how many?
I mean, I don't even count. I just until that motherfucker is shining like the sun. You went quiet. So there we go.
Learn to highlight correctly, and then you won't have to rely on gloss varnish.
I'm just saying. I want this thing to be like on a pedestal so that if you shine a flashlight at it, it just bounces back and you can't see anything. That's
Deacon split.
yeah, there we go. That's the acceptable
It's
type of
terrible.
gloss varnish.
Absolutely terrible. Should be a crime against minis.
Where did you put it? I
What?
don't see it.
But what?
Did you post it somewhere?
Oh no, I was just kidding. No, the only
Oh.
ones I glossed were those salamanders. That was it.
You bastard. All I know is my little project in your room is still there.
It's just off camera where you can't see it.
Oh
That's
no,
the whole point.
no, it's on camera. You don't know what it is. I just asked you to move the box so I could see if it was still there.
What box?
Wait,
When you had your
Radley's-
Stadia box over there,
Oh.
it's no longer there.
Yeah.
But now I can confirm that what I was looking for is still there. You're like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, Ravalik just brought up the fact that Torolf is a Dois Marine. So,
Hey, there you go.
just saying.
Probably not wrong.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if Bro can scream and bust eardrums, I'm going to agree with the assessment. Because if I had kept my headphones on, that would have hurt.
See, I can just imagine Torolf like showing up to like to a Ren fair or something dressed as a Nazgul, and then it's like, sir, you can't do that. Let's out the scream. Okay, you're authentic enough. Welcome.
Right?
I'm just saying,
That's actually
If-
not a bad idea.
if he goes to a Ren fair, he doesn't even have to dress up.
Yeah, just
They're gonna be like,
yeah,
they're gonna be like Viking.
No, I'm trying to be a samurai. You look like a Viking. This is
Trying to
an
be a
Adachi.
Nazgul.
Wow, you're a Viking that went to Japan. That's awesome.
I thought I was gonna have more stuff to talk about today, outside of
That's
the.
my fault.
Huh?
That would be my fault.
No.
Look, I'm just gonna say this because I already talked to him in private. So, if Asmogold, fuck you. If Asmogan were to see this, he comes back. I would say I apologize. On behalf of everybody, we're all friends here. One way or the other, you know? See, Dad already apologized.
Did he make it, or what happened?
I don't want to talk
Difference
about
of opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed the fireworks, I take it.
But
yeah, Lady Runesong wants to know what painting techniques do we think are underrated by the wider community?
gloss varnishing.
Gloss. Yeah.
God
gloss
damn it.
varnish.
Did you say the water community?
Wider.
Wider.
Okay.
Whiter, white people.
Oh my god.
You know, a lot of people shit on dry brushing these days. The elitists do, but there's a couple dudes on YouTube that are actually elevating the technique to something respectable.
I love dry brushing. It's great.
I mean, the only time I ever do that is if I'm doing like nice, fancy looking bases.
Let me put out, maybe this isn't so much a painting technique, but as much as it's a purchase technique. A lot of people shit on things like Apple Barrel and shit like that from Michaels or Walmart, stuff like that. But I want to tell you, if you thin the paints correctly, they work just as well as the other stuff. And on top of that, one of the best secrets that I would throw out to you guys that you probably never thought of doing, there's not a paint color that you could ever want that you could not get even cheaper by going to Lowe's or Home Depot or your store and have them mix you a little freaking pint of paint that you will have forever. And it works in an airbrush. Telling you.
I mean,
have
I
you
did
used Apple Barrel yellow or white before, and what are you thinning it with?
I thin it with a medium. Actually, I don't use water.
I could see that to a point, I guess, but a lot of those craft store paints, the pigment's not very finely ground, so the paint separates really badly if you thin it.
I've never had an issue with it. I mean, of course, I mixed the shit out of it, so maybe that's part of it. But I assumed everybody did that.
We still got heathens using stuff straight out of the pot.
Yeah, that's definitely heretical.
Found one.
But they make some really good paints, at your hardware store. And I mean, you can get whatever color you want. Of course, they have all the swatches there, so you can see exactly what it's going to look like. It's not the guessing game by looking in a pot, and then wondering what it's going to look like once it dries.
Yeah.
Something.
We're going off the name.
Do what?
We're going off the name, like some of the GW stuff, like Night Haunt Gas or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? Is that going to be a blue? Is that going to be a green? Is it going to be a pink somehow?
Exactly. I'm surprised GW didn't find a way to copyright freaking ultramarine blue, because you could find that in Walmart, which is where ultramarines belong, in the bargain bin.
Hey,
hey,
there's nothing wrong with ultramarines, all right?
Yeah.
There's everything wrong with ultramarines. They
Exactly.
stole the chance of having a properly Roman faction because they're watered down Romans.
Gilliman is still the best Primarch. I'm just saying.
Oh,
that is incorrect, sir.
Who is this guy?
Bummy Bob beer, best beer in Vietnam.
Bummy
Bob beer, only beer in Vietnam.
Pretty much. Jesus, who is this guy? Who are you?
Well, he's the Primarch that knows his excellent, his logistics, so he can organize a vote or a popularity contest.
He can organize the MREs, is what you're saying. Got it.
Right. If I want somebody to stock the kitchen, I know who to call.
Exactly.
Fucked up.
Now, Conrad Kurz is the best Primarch.
Bunch of haters.
What?
I don't know. I'm just saying some stupid shit. I've only read like 2 of the Horse Heresy books. I still need to finish them all.
Oh.
Guy can't even kill anybody properly.
But he can bring law and order to a planet with minimal casualties.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Well, so long as he's there. That's the problem, because when he's not there, whole thing goes to shit.
That's why you leave behind a couple of Astartes. just one or two Astartes to instill discipline.
I thought you were gonna say like impersonate him.
Well, yeah, there's that. Like, obviously, like continue doing what he does.
What are
Wouldn't they
fucking
be doing it
opposites now?
anyway?
Yeah, no, just like, hey, that child jaywalked.
Kill it with fire.
No,
Record.
that's the salamanders. They are
I
going
know.
to skin it alive.
I know.
Only if it's an Eldar child.
There you go.
Uh,
Hey, he was following the Emperor's decree.
Yep. But no, honestly, from like what I've seen, like people talk at like Twitter discussions, honestly, the Khan sounds like the best Primarch. Like just absolute like pad motherfucker.
Well, okay, I need an answer to this. I want to know why the White Scars even exist, considering how many of them freaking turn to Horus's side. That's what I want to know.
I
I've
mean,
not gotten a straight
Just
answer on
just
that
half the
ever.
legion, and they have been organized into the Shajan Mazar, effectively suicide commandos to atone for their Khan. Sorry, not for, but to their Khan. So it has been expunged as the Dark Angels. We don't talk about it.
Well, we don't talk about the Dark Angels because they don't tell anyone else what happened. Our
Right.
entire chapter.
Yes,
did not-
and the White Scars also do not advertise this, and this happened before they got back onto Terra. So at that point, it's just water under the bridge. Because yes, it happened. Some tried to subvert the will of the Khan, and they have been punished. Just like the loyalist elements have been purged from the traitor legions on Istvan, this is so. This is the same.
TMT says poor White Scars catching strays.
Well, I mean, hey, they got the hardest paint scheme to paint, so it's kind of on them.
so as
Fuck
much
you,
as
Ravlik.
as much as I would love to keep this stream going, my dog has some sort of eye issue. So I need to.
He's looking at you. That's why. No, I'm kidding.
No, I just know. Like I saw it last night, and I just looked at it, and I was like, I think I need to get her some eye drops or something. So I don't know. If she got scratched by one of the cats, or it's just like doggy pink eye or something.
Leviathan said set it on fire, buy a new one. That's what I'd do.
But yeah, kind of need. The dog is more important than all of you. I'm sorry.
There you go.
No, that's totally valid.
So we better know our places.
And now Man vs. Mini shows up right as
Derek.
I'm like, bye.
Hey, friends, how we doing?
The stream's ending because dog.
Now I need to take care of my doggy. That's more important.
Thanks for having us.
Also, Torolf is a shrieking Banshee.
Yeah.
Banshee.
Oh, bite your tongue, don't you dare.
You are one of the
Dirty
that
Eldar.
That scream sounded very much like a Eldar aspect warrior. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just before we go, I have one question. Did everybody downloaded everything they wanted from the Dropbox?
No, because I don't have Dropbox.
Yes.
I didn't know anything about it. I'll get with you
Yeah.
some other time.
Yeah.
I do
Just
have
shoot the
Dropbox?
details if you could.
Yeah, I
Because-
just can get those last two files that you put up.
Okay, I will going to leave everything there for till the next stream. Then, if you're interested, I have also the black books from the original Horus Heresy rule books in PDF, just like these. And if you're interested, I'm going to upload those.
You have all of them?
It's so far up.
Well, let me check. So this is, and no, Horus Heresy. Yes, from 1 to 9. Betrayal, Massacre, Extermination, Conquest, Tempest, Retribution, Inferno, Malevolence, and Crusade. All 9.
Yeah, I'll get with you later.
Do.
I'll shoot you a DM if you can send me the details. I'll go ahead and download it or download what I can get. So.
What do you specifically recommend downloading?
Everything.
Yes,
Oh,
always.
I don't mean to break topic real quick, but did I miss Asmogan?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeezy crazy. Why didn't he stay? Didn't do anything.
He got work to do.
Yeah, he had to go to work.
Real work? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, gentlemen. I am.
Okay, take care of the doggo.
Yeah, dog important. Love everybody. Bye.